Hey everybody, hello and welcome to Biters. This is Diane and Mouse in the House.
This is Marnell, and Diane and I can barely keep our eyes open.
I told Diana and Steve that we might be able to do a crossover with them. I could get my walker out and put my bifocals on and potentially make it to the podcast room.
I know, it's like 7:45 on a Monday night, and both Di and I are just like, oh, we're so tired. But we're getting it done on a Monday night, so I'm excited.
Which is pretty rare, but it may become more and more a thing.
Right, we are, because your Tuesday nights are...
My late nights.
Yeah, so Wednesday's kind of late in the week, so we're going to try for Mondays from now on.
But it may be Wednesday, depending on how life is.
Exactly.
All right, so we are here to talk about Season 10, Episode 7, Open Your Eyes, which is what someone needs to say to the both of us right now.
Exactly. So, that happened.
Tell me how you really feel. Give me your rating.
Wow. So my rating does not at all reflect the sadness and trauma that I feel from this episode. I rated it a 4.4 finely tuned mechanisms.
I missed the line. What was the finely tuned mechanism? Oh, it was the water.
The sign on the
sign
water.
Of the
that was
water.
Like,
yes.
Don't mess with the valves of
talk
the finely
to Eugene
tuned
or
mechanism.
talk to Sadiq.
Right. And you know Eugene made that sign.
Oh, completely. I saw that on first watch and I was like, that's pretty funny. That's a Eugenism.
Yep. So what did you think?
Well, I gave it a 4.199 poop charts out of 5. Another Eugenism.
Oh, man, for not being in the episode, there was sure a lot of Eugene this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so far it's probably my least favorite of the season, but it was still 10 times better than any Fear the Walking Dead episode we saw, so...
Yes, absolutely. For me, it improved upon rewatch, but it's still really hard seeing Sadiq die.
It wasn't even that it was so hard to see Sadiq die. I just thought... You know, there were some parts of this episode that really dragged, and I don't know if it suffered from them trying to cram so much into one episode. I don't know if it was just the storylines were really kind of scattered. It just didn't hang together quite as nicely as maybe some of the other ones have.
Well, and we are stepping up to next week's mid-season finale.
I know, it's just hard for me to believe.
I know. And, you know, we actually should have saw this coming because don't they usually put the big deaths in the episode before the one you think is going to have the big deaths?
Well, timing, yes. And the other thing that I was thinking as I was rewatching it tonight is that it really reminded me of Herschel's Hero episode. And that was like the big dun dun dun. Oh, by the way, we're going to kill Herschel now.
That's right.
So...
And I guess we're really not used to being surprised by deaths because it's been announced that people are leaving the show, so we expect their deaths, right?
I've got to say, I did not see this one coming.
I didn't either. We all were on death watch for Rosita, and of course...
We still should be.
And the king has, you know, basically an inoperable tumor, and especially now that there's no doctors, and Michonne, like, it's just, yeah, wow. Things are changing.
Well, so I don't have any numbers for this week because we're recording too soon. So I kind of went back and did a little digging around just to see what Walking Dead was doing in Live Plus 3. I talked about this a few weeks ago. So the October 21st episode was the one that I found the most recent Live Plus 3 on. It had actually gone up 73% in the 18 to 49 group from same day views to plus 3 views.
Wow.
And overall, it was 5.09 million views in Live Plus 3. It was up about 53% overall. So, certainly there is truth to what we've been talking about in terms of people's viewing habits are different. Again, you've made the point several times, this doesn't include the streaming service that AMC is doing now. So I do think the numbers are better than we see initially, and that made me feel a little better going back and digging in that tonight.
Right. And we've made the point before that, if it's between a week-to-week show and a live sports ball game, you're going to watch the live sports ball game and record the week-to-week show.
Oh, I will go there. Ugh. I have a rant reserved for later in the show.
Sports ball?
It's loosely related to sports ball.
Is it related to Disney Plus?
It is related to Disney Plus. You saw my Facebook post.
Everyone's been posting about Disney Plus, but you're the only one that I've seen had a problem.
My God.
I just love Thomas O'Mara's. He's like, I'm never going to use Disney Plus, and then like the next day, he's like, don't
Disney
I have
Plus.
Disney Plus?
He actually privately messaged me and offered to help me kind of sort out my issues, and I was like, thanks. I wish the person that I'd held on the phone with for all that time last night had offered me as much help as you have. Ugh.
Ugh.
All
I guess
right.
we'll hear about that later.
Go ahead.
Oh, we'll hear about that later.
Oh, yeah. So, Open Your Eyes, the title. I mean, obviously, it was what Dante said to Sadiq. But I thought that the deeper meaning was like opening your eyes to all of the things that are going on around you.
Yes. And I think that Aaron has been trying to open Gamma's eyes, and Lydia opened Carol's eyes to maybe torture isn't the best way. And
oh, you think so? I don't think Lydia opened Carol's eyes. I think Carol is going down a dark path again.
Well, I think she tried it and then it didn't work, and she's like, well, if I can't solve you with the velvet glove, I'm going to hit you with a hammer. Yeah.
Carol's just not a happy human right now.
No. And then, of course, Sadiq died with his eyes open.
Oh, fair point. I was kind of thinking it was about relationships, like seeing the truth in relationships, and then also about the truth about what's going on with the water.
Yeah. I thought Rosita's eyes have opened a little to Eugene.
I laughed at Sadiq's joke about your other man.
I wrote that down. I loved it. That was a great line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so writer and director we have both talked about before. Our writer was Corey Reed, who has written, I couldn't believe this, a total of 17 episodes of The Walking Dead.
Wow.
His first episode was Four Walls and a Roof. I think that was way back in season 5. And then Consumed, which was also in season 5. And I would have to say, of all of the ones that he's been involved with, Consumed was probably my favorite. That was a Daryl Carol-centric episode. And not just because I shipped Daryl and Carol, because I'm way beyond that. It was just a really good episode.
Yeah, I no longer ship them, of course.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I do like seeing those two together, and there's been talk a lot this season about their relationship changing from here on forward.
Well, you and I talked last week about just that degree of distrust that's been sown between the two of them.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing.
And then in this episode, she was still testing the boundaries when and I agreed with her. Give Lydia the choice
Oh,
to.
see, I agreed with Daryl. I was so grateful that Daryl actually stood up for Lydia and said she's been through enough.
Yes, I agree, but give her the choice. I mean, what if she'd come back later? What if you had not given her the choice and she'd found out later and she's like, I could have helped. What are you doing?
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree.
Just like Carol and Daryl.
Let's see. And then our director was dun 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 Michael Cudlitz.
Michael Cudlitz.
So the thing that I wanted to highlight, because I don't think we've ever said this about him before, he actually won 3 awards for Southland.
Oh, wow.
So he won a Critics' Choice Award. He won a Peabody Award, which I'm used to being a big award in journalism. I didn't realize they gave out awards for acting as well. And then he won a Prism Award, and all 3 of those were for his role in Southland, which made me think I need to go back and revisit getting invested in that series.
You really should. So I think it only lasted 2 seasons. Somebody else is going to say it lasted 1 or 5 or something. But I feel like it only lasted 2. It was not long enough at all. I loved Southland, and I love Cutlass's character in Southland. His character wound up being very, very surprising. So, I mean, if they give out Peabody Awards for, like, groundbreaking character development, then I get it.
Well, and he has some really great acting skill. And, again, the stuff that I really liked about this episode, I attribute a lot of it to his directing.
And the last episode he directed, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember going, he did an amazing job.
It was the episode where we open with Yumiko and Magna having the love scene.
That's right.
And that great music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fantastic episode. So I have tons of respect for how he's coming along as an actor. And I'm sorry, how he's coming along as a director. I already loved him as an actor, but how he's coming along as a director.
And this wasn't a bad episode. It's just that, Siddiq died, put a kind of bummer on it.
It just wasn't my favorite. And I'm not sure, again, I think it suffered from trying to tell too much story all at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got stuff about our featured cast member who doesn't have a name.
No, he is just credited as Captured Whisperer, but in real life he goes as James Parks. I had no idea until I looked him up. The acting chops of James. He goes way, way back to 1990 was his first acting credit.
God, don't say way, way back. That makes me feel really old.
Dude, 1990 was 30 years ago.
I know, but it nonetheless makes me feel a little old.
Okay, boomer.
I am not a boomer. My husband is a boomer. He's at the very end of it. Knock it off, millennial. You're not a millennial. You're a Gen Wire?
X.
Really?
I'm right on the cusp.
So we're both Gen Xers.
Yeah.
So knock it off, man.
Oh, but man, I will be 40 next month. And some days I feel every minute of those 40 years, but...
Oh, trust me, the warranty wears out after 40.
But 30 years ago, James started his acting career, and one of the first things that I recognize him from is Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me in 1992. I was 12 years old and probably shouldn't have been watching Twin Peaks, but I was.
But that kind of tells you about the level of monitoring in our household when we were growing up.
Okay, but here's the thing. I'm the youngest of 5, so by the time they got to me, I was allowed to juggle knives. It was fine.
Which, by the way, this is totally off topic. And we'll get back to James Parks, because there is a lot to say about James Parks. Our mother's Kindle went, like...
kaput.
Yeah. So she's getting a new Kindle tomorrow, which means that you, me, and the other housewife are going to have to walk her through putting it together because she is a technical travesty.
Yeah. Yeah. And she doesn't listen to this podcast, so we can say that.
Right.
Because she doesn't know how to listen to podcasts.
Right, because that would be figuring out between like looking at your home screen and getting into an app and what the difference between the two is.
Okay, boomer.
You can call her that. That's fine.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because she legitimately is a boomer.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
All right, back to James Parks. Sorry to steal his thunder.
Long and industrious career. He's been in just about every iteration of Star Trek.
And NCIS, right?
He was in an NCIS and a CSI.
No Law and Order.
No Law and Order, but a really good episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, really? See,
Yes.
I didn't dig back that far. I kind of just wrote down quickly some of the things that I recognized tonight and obviously didn't see the Buffy credit.
He played kind of a southern rednecky vampire that was going after Buffy during a time when these like parasitic eggs were taking control of everybody's minds. Like they looked like the chest bursters from Aliens, but they really just attached to your spine and took control of your body and made you a drone.
Speaking of vampire rednecks, he was in True Blood.
He was in True Blood. He was in, I think, 4 episodes of True Blood. I don't think his character was a vampire. He played Mac Rattray, which I think was the guy that tried to capture Bill and drain him. I watch way too much TV.
Yeah, you lost me. I watched like the first few episodes of True Blood and was like, nah, it's kind of not my world.
But, so James Parks has been in a ton of Tarantino movies.
Yes, and that was where
Tarantino.
I was like, man, I need to go back because I'm like really hit or miss with Tarantino. Like he's really way too rapey for me. But
Yeah.
I loved the Kill Bill movies. Like those are 2 of my favorite movies ever.
He literally did a Grindhouse movie,
which this guy was in.
A throwback to the old, female and black exploitation films and prison and yeah. So I mean, he intends to be that way. One of the best movies that
I get triggered by rapey stuff. Like even the little comment, the rapey comment that the Captured Whisperer made to Carol in this episode, I was like, oh.
Yeah. That and knowing what happens in the comimics with the Whisperers.
True.
Yeah.
Good point.
I think that might come up soon. But
going back to Tarantino, Quentin Tarantino.
So James Parks, actually, if you watch Tarantino movies, they all take place in the same universe. So if you see someone, they will probably be the same character from movie to movie to movie. So Kill Bill, Grindhouse, Machete, yeah.
So did you see that his dad played his real life dad, who was his inspiration to become an actor, played his dad in the Tarantino movies?
I did, and I think that's so clever. And James Parks was in Dusk Till Dawn 2, and Michael Parks, his father, was in Dusk Till Dawn 3. Yeah, I think that's great. And his father was his inspiration for getting into the film business, but his father didn't encourage him to be an actor. James actually graduated high school and went through junior college and then decided he was going to try his hand at acting. And he's been in a ton of stuff with his dad, too.
I thought it was super interesting that James's background is Shakespearean, that was kind of his true love initially.
Which, I mean, if you look at his IMDb, there's not a lot of Shakespeare going on in there.
By the way, again, another aside, he totally reminded me of the guy who played, was it TC in Preacher?
Oh, yeah.
Like, facially, he really looks like him.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same body type.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, he's been in a ton of stuff with his dad. And he is in a movie with his father that is yet to be released. I don't know if they've done any filming. It's called The Summoning, but his father died in May of 2017. So I don't know if they filmed anything, and they're still going to be in one last movie together. But I thought that was really sad that his father has passed, and he worked so closely with his father.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that'll be interesting to see if that actually happens, because the movie The Summoning is actually kind of sounds like something that I would watch, because it's kind of a horror movie.
Yeah.
It takes place in a plantation house where two skeptical paranormal researchers find their belief systems challenged.
Okay, that actually sounds kind of up my alley too.
They come face to face with the slaves of their past.
Oh.
So, and it's funny. It seems like if James Parks isn't playing somebody in a Star Trek or like Apollo 11, if he's not in space, he's some sort of cowboy.
I was totally thinking that too. He's got all of this cowboy stuff.
Even
The Sun, which was an AMC property with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
The Hateful Eight, Django Unchained. He's got all this cowboy cred.
Even the movie Red State. Mom's calling.
I was gonna say, guess who that is? She's probably looking for medical advice. Sorry, everybody. Okay.
You need to get a funner ringtone.
Right? Well, it's linked to my computer, and I need to figure out some way to shut off my computer while we're podcasting, because she invariably calls while we're podcasting.
It's because she called me like an hour ago, so she's probably calling you going, why can't I get a hold of Marnell?
So she's going to be calling Amy next.
This has been Housewives Mother Hour.
Right?
So anyway, James Parks was in Red State, which is actually a
I
Kevin
love
Smith.
that movie. Oh my god, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yes. If you love Kevin Smith, go watch Red State.
Okay,
it's nothing like a Kevin Smith movie.
Right. So for people who are like living in the Jay and Silent Bob universe, who really like Dogma, those movies, it's nothing like that. But it was so good.
It is his first foray into horror, and he did a really good job, because it's not like the boogeyman in your nightmares or the unkillable Jason Voorhees. It's like something that could legitimately happen in real life.
He tells a really funny story about that movie in one of his stand-up shows with Jason Mewes. So that was right about the time that... Oh God, I'm gonna blank on their name. The religious Westboro Baptist Church. It was around the time that Westboro was like protesting everything he did. So he actually invited like one of the daughters from the church to the movie, and she and a bunch of other followers of the church came to the movie, and he like went up and sat down with them when it was opening up, talking with them, how's it going? How do you like the movie? And they're like, it's really not our scene. We're probably gonna go. And he said he was thinking, oh my God, I'm sitting here with these psychos and they could totally kill me. I'm completely undefended and out in the open. But he actually tried to have an open dialogue with them, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, sorry, I'm off the James Parks thing again.
No, but like when Westboro Baptist Church like protests anything, it just makes you a cause celeb. So I'm sure that was, I would put that on the movie poster that, the Westboro Baptist Church, I would put a quote from them, But, and actually, Michael Parks, his father, was also credited with a voice scene in the movie.
Red State?
In Red State,
oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it's funny if Michael Parks' IMDb, his main profile pic is a movie poster from Red State.
Very good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I can't say enough about that movie. If you have not seen it, find it because it was really good.
and like I said, if you love Kevin Smith, watch it. If you hate Kevin Smith, watch it because it's nothing like a Kevin Smith movie.
But if you're easily offended by blasphemy, just kind of take that under advisement.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, it seems like if he's not playing a Romulan, he is playing a cowboy.
How funny.
But yeah, I only found an Instagram for him also, and I failed
Active,
to
not active.
new.
Okay.
He's at James Parks for real. James Parks with an S for real on Instagram. But the Facebook and the Twitter account that I found for James Parks was not this James Parks. So, yeah, that's our featured castmate. He didn't get a name on the show, but he's definitely got a name in real life.
And we won't be seeing him again either.
No, unfortunately, no. Oh, and happy birthday. He turned 51 on Saturday.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get into Whisperer's Corner, I've got a few things, and the first is my Disney rant. So, you and I always talk about how we're not going to sign up for any more streaming services.
But we're totally going to.
But you had me at, if you do the bundle, you get Hulu also, and ESPN, and frankly, I could care less about the sports ball. No offense, anyone, but it's true. So I signed up yesterday. And then I'm like, I had a Hulu account like 100,000 years ago. I didn't renew it. It's been probably 4 years since it's been active. But now I'm signed up and I can get into Disney. But Hulu is a totally separate app, right?
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get into Hulu on my computer. I tried to get into Hulu on the TV. I updated all the apps on the TV. Could not get in. Sat on their customer service chat, not Hulu's, Disney Plus's, for probably 2 hours. The first time I got through to somebody, I got cut off.
Of course.
The second time I got through to somebody, when I told her that her preloaded information, like her cut and paste, this is how you fix it, didn't help, she just stopped talking to me. I sat there for 10 minutes and got no response. I was like, hello, are you there? Hello, you've been letting me sit for a long time. Are you still there? Are you helping someone else? I finally hung up, and then I tried to call them, and of course they're like, your estimated wait time is going to be greater than 1 hour. I sent nasty emails to every place I could find. I was like, your service sucks. I am discontinuing my service. I am so angry right now, I could just spit. And then Tom O'Mara was like, no, you just need to create a Hulu account too, and then they'll sort it all out in the wash. And I was like, how come they couldn't tell me that? How come they couldn't say, you just need to create a new Hulu account, it'll be fine? So, tips to anyone out there who's in listener land, who's thinking about doing Disney Plus. First of all, it's frustrating. Although, I have to say that the shell, when you get in, onto the Disney app, looks beautiful. They've done a nice job putting it together. So I'm bummed that I'm so frustrated that I may never sign up again. And they charged me for 4 hours of service the entire month's fee for the privilege. And I have a feeling they're not going to respond to any of my demands to refund it. Anyway, make sure that you create a Hulu account with the same email address. And they will sort it out. That's what I am told.
Good to know.
So, and you only have to worry about the Hulu and ESPN thing if you do the bundle. If you just do Disney Plus, it's like half the price and you just get access to Disney. I wanted Hulu because I wanted Handmaids.
Yeah.
So I'm a little frustrated with Disney Plus. I even took to Twitter, which is fairly rare for me, and ranted about it on Twitter. And hashtagged and tweeted at Disney up the wazoo.
Hoping that it would go viral, but there's 30,000 other people that are tweeting about their problems with Disney Plus.
I was going to say Disney Plus fail is a hashtag, so...
Well, I think Gizmodo did a really good article on how badly Disney failed on their launch. It's a great app. It's a great service. They when it works, it was awesome, but there were so many issues that they should, as a, multi-billion-dollar company that now owns like just about everything, they really should have had these kinks worked out before they went live.
Exactly my thing. And I said that in
Yep.
every single email I sent. Disney is so huge. You should have had this figured out.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, God, I was mad.
It's not as if like they're pioneering like new territory. And, Netflix had the last 10, 15 years to work out their bugs.
Right.
Like Hulu should have been like, hey, what's the secret sauce?
Oh my God. Okay, so speaking of Netflix, two things about Netflix. So first of all, I finally finished the book that was the tie-in to the miniseries Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. So if you want a true crime book that relates to that series, it's by T. Christian Miller and Ken Armstrong, and it was totally worth the read. Excuse me. And yesterday I watched a show called Unacknowledged. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, it's like a 2-hour documentary about essentially alleging that aliens are alive and well, they have contacted us, and the government is covering it up. And it was pretty convincing the way it was put together.
I need no convincing of that. I totally believe that.
Yeah, I don't need any convincing either, only in that I think the universe is so ginormous, it would be egotistical for us to say we're the only sentient beings out there.
Exactly.
But this documentary was really good. So if you're into that kind of thing, Unacknowledged on Netflix. Okay. 3 more things. Go ahead.
Well, I have one recommendation on Hulu.
Okay, go for it. If I ever decide to give in and do Hulu, I'm so mad.
I started watching Harlots. And
Harlots I heard that was good.
Yes, it stars Samantha Morton, Alpha.
Oh, and?
It is so good. Okay, so it's 3 seasons, and the seasons are 8 one-hour episodes long, so it's really not that much. I binged the entire season 1 this weekend without even trying. It was so good. I cannot wait to start season 2, and it is very, very, very weird to go from seeing Samantha Morton as she kind of calls herself like a house mother, but she's really their pimp. And like an 18th century, lady English accent. And she's kind of brash. And then to see her as Alpha, it's bizarre. I literally watched the season finale of Harlots and then rolled into Walking Dead. And I was like, whoa.
See, now I'm even more frustrated that I couldn't access Hulu.
Sorry.
Just saying. All right, I don't have any new podcast recommendations this weekend, but I want to go to one of my old tried and true, one of my favorites. So there is a Buddhist teacher back in New York named Josh Korda, and he has a podcast called Dharma Punks NYC. And like literally the day that I was driving to my first day of my new job, the podcast that I listened to that dropped like a week before was titled Addressing Work-Related Anxiety. And it was really good. Josh does a lot of work with trauma. He does a lot of work with, appropriate to this episode, PTSD, fight or flight. In addition to being a Buddhist teacher, he's a trained counselor. And I just would really encourage anybody who kind of wants to work through some of their own stuff to check out Josh, because he's got some really good information. He's really into neuroscience too.
So what was the podcast called again?
Dharma Punks, DHARMAPUNX. Dharma Punks NYC.
Cool.
Yeah, he's really good. I even throw him a little bit of money every month because I like him that much. Totally unrelated again. Protein bars. So I don't know about anybody else, but protein bars usually taste like cardboard and whey. And it's really hard to find a good one. And a friend turned me on to protein bars from builtbar.com. And I swear to God, they taste like candy bars.
Huh.
They're so good. They're like 115 calories each, 15 grams of protein, and they taste phenomenal. So it's BUILTBAR, builtbar.com. Okay, the very last... Oh, go ahead.
I'll have to try those come spring because during the fall, I pretty much subsist on pomegranates.
Well, I'm trying to eat better, which means I'm kind of not being so great on the weekends, but my weekdays, I'm trying to really push the fluids and the protein and eat a little cleaner. And
it's so much easier on the weekday because you're structured.
You're structured, you're stuck somewhere, It's fairly regimented. But, boy, these protein bars taste amazing. Okay, very last thing is Walking Dead related. So TuneFind is a website that has, like, how you figure out what music is played in a television series.
I have used it, yes.
They have, like, a 288 entry database about The Walking Dead.
Whoa.
Yeah. I will try to remember to put the link up because it was amazing. I went to find out what song was used in tonight's episode, and I was like, how did I not know about this?
Yeah, I've got an entire playlist based on like just TV shows. This is the chick in me. Vampire Diaries. They have a lot of good music on their show, and so did The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I'm totally looking for it right now because I really think that, so it's complete song list. Find all 288 songs featured in The Walking Dead, listed by episode with scene descriptions. I mean, that's pretty cool.
It is.
Especially considering this series uses some amazing music.
And it's not always readily available on IMDb.
Right. I mean, sometimes you really have to dig to figure out what's being played. So I'm putting it up for the biters right now.
Yeah, my Google search history is pretty much words I'm trying to spell and song lyrics. Yeah.
So if you love Walking Dead's music as much as we do, this is the site for you. And the thing that I will say about Cudlitz that I liked about this episode and last is that he really made the choice to follow the tradition of picking and highlighting music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a very bare Whisperers Corner, because that was kind of the pre-Whisperers Corner. So the only stuff I have this week is from Forbes, because there wasn't really any news.
Right.
And the only real news was that Paul Tassi wrote an article about kind of what's going to happen to Michonne's storyline with Denai Guerrero leaving. And his suggestion, which I think is a really interesting one, and I think it's potentially valid, is that Yumiko is going to end up taking her storyline.
I like that idea.
So in the comic books, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, Michonne is an attorney, and when the Commonwealth becomes a big thing in the series, she actually ends up going to the Commonwealth and working as an attorney. So Paul Tassi is suggesting that that's the path that Yumiko is going to take. Yeah, which I think is interesting. I mean, I think there's a good chance, especially with her and Magna being on the rocks and with the introduction of Stephanie.
Right. And the not possibility, but the actuality that we are losing Michonne in some fashion or another.
You know, I was thinking about it, and they told us that she was going to be in about 6 episodes this season. Mm-hmm. We have really not seen a whole heck of a lot of her this episode or this season so far. I mean, I'd say she was pretty heavily in about the first 3.
Yeah.
And then we have not seen her.
Well, the trailers for the next episode looks like she's making a triumphant comeback.
It does.
So maybe that'll be our season finale. Maybe we lose Michonne next episode. That would be terrible.
Well, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Right.
Okay, so very quickly, the only other stuff I have is the reviews from Eric Kane and Paul Tassi. Eric Kane's review was pretty mixed. The thing that I got from him more than anything was that he really felt like Siddiq didn't get a complete arc, and he was really disappointed in that.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like Jesus. There was so much that could have happened with the character, and then there was so much unrealized about this character.
Well, and I don't know. I just feel like if we had to kill off a character, because that's what we do, there were other people that, I'm sorry, Seth, I would like to have seen gone.
There are a lot of people who
Father
are actually
Gabriel?
saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. There's just, yeah. I mean, like I said, we know we're losing a bunch of characters. The king has an inoperable tumor on his neck, and we're going to lose Michonne, and we were all on Rosita Death Watch.
Which I still think we still should be.
Right. I mean, she seems like she's getting better, and but she does have another show that she's going to be on, so there's that.
So Paul Tassie's review was really funny. He had some really funny moments in his review. So he says regarding Siddiq's death, I admit I was caught off guard. Even as Dante was creeping in Siddiq's room at the end of the episode, my first thought was, are they going to kiss? It seems like they're going to kiss. They did not kiss.
Oh, man.
The other line that I really liked, and I need to kind of get down where I find it because it was super funny. Where is it? Oh, so he's kind of trying to ask how Dante could actually be a whisperer, and he says, I don't really understand how he's so normal when all of the other whisperers act like either Jason Voorhees or Gollum.
Which now I'm not going to be able to unsee that.
Right? So, yeah, I actually really liked his review. I thought it was cleverly written. He really talked quite a bit about the Dante Siddiq plotline more than anything. But it was worth the read.
And so was Eric Kane's.
Yeah.
I agreed with pretty much everything in his review. So,
but I really would say if you're going to read any article from Forbes this week, read the article about Michonne's storyline and how Yumiko has the potential to take it over.
I really like Yumiko. I think I would be really okay with that since we are losing Michonne.
I was disappointed. I was listening to Sean Freeman's show, The Zombie Cast, and they were kind of talking about how they aren't really invested in the new characters and don't really like the new characters. And I was bummed out because I actually really like Luke best of all.
Yeah.
I mean, not best of all of the characters on the show, but best of the new characters. And I'm looking forward to seeing more about him.
And Connie and Daryl, even if they're not shipping them, there's got to be some fun little relationship that Daryl has now that he and Carol are kind of on the outs.
Yeah. So, anyway, we like the new characters.
Yeah.
But Freeman, we love ya. Did you follow him?
I did.
Good. I'm glad.
I did.
He's a really nice guy.
He is super funny.
Yeah. All right. So I guess that takes us to our goods, bads, and uglies.
Yeah. We are there.
So what was your good?
My good was actually surprising. This was a last minute decision based on I think an article from comicbook.com, and it was Aaron trying to connect with Gamma. And in this episode, we saw two ways that we were trying to get intel out of the Whisperers. And like I said, you had the Velvet Glove and you had the hammer. And him trying to connect with Gamma, just those two standing on the bridge, just kind of standing around eating bread or worms or whatever Gamma had. And just
Aaron had bread, Gamma had worms.
Right. And they're stilted, stifled conversation, and every once in a while you'd see like, Gamma warm up just a little. She'd open up, and then she'd like quickly shut back down again and leave, or pull a knife on him or whatever. But it was the interesting juxtaposition of the two ways we were trying to get information out of the Whisperers. And I think it was Eric Kane who talked about it in his review, where he thought that was really incongruent with Aaron's character so far in the season, that he was all gung-ho, I'm going to murder any Whisperer I see. And then all of a sudden he's like playing nice with Gamma.
But I will say the stuff about playing nice with Gamma, I actually saw like NGO Aaron who reached out to our group and tried to pull our group in. I saw shades of the old Aaron. Yeah.
And I think it was mentioned that, maybe he's just kind of lost his gusto. Like he burned it all out, and he's trying a new tactic now. And it worked, but not because of him so much, or in the way that he thought it was going to. She was on that bridge that night when Lydia and Carol came riding up because of Aaron. So it wasn't anything Aaron said, but just the act of him being there, and then her by chance seeing Lydia, that started a fire that I don't think Alpha's going to be able to put out. So
Interesting.
That was my good.
What
was yours?
Good. Well, I'm going to say cinematography for the win. And I really credit Cudlitz for a lot of this. So the stuff that really stuck in my head for this episode was just revisiting all of those really classic horror tropes, and which they've done a good job with this season. And I thought that Cudlitz did a really nice job shooting them in this episode. So the ones that I really want to point out, the way that Alpha's head moved in the opening, it was so creepy. Like, it was that rapid cut and kind of stilted movement.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was freaky.
The arms around Sadiq in the nightmare is the one that really got me.
That was my next one. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other one, because we've seen this in several horror films, and the one that really came to mind for me was What Lies Beneath, which was a Michelle Pfeiffer movie. Mm-hmm. The scene in the water.
Oh. Huh. What was it about the scene in the water?
It's kind of a classic horror trope. And I really liked it. And I also loved the way it was shot. It was just really beautiful and awful at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, this entire season so far. Sadiq seems to be like water is his calming agent. And then to have it be the water that's making everyone sick.
But also to have that be the way that he would choose his death if he was going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if, he wasn't trying to swim to the surface, and Rosita did come rescue him, but I don't know if that was really his original intent, because he's normally splashing water on his face or dunking his head or something like that. I think it was just he needed to be submerged at that point, and maybe at that point he didn't care if he lived or not.
Oh, I think he totally wanted to die. I mean, that was totally suicidal.
Yeah, it's almost like he didn't intend it, but once he got there, he was like, okay, I'm just going to let go.
Yeah, no, I think it was intentional. I think that he was totally suicidal. Anyway, cinematography for the win.
Well, this episode didn't have a lot of darkness to it, but next episode looks like it does. So.
Great. So I'm going to have to be really careful and pay close attention so I don't miss things.
turn off all the lights in your house.
Wear the strongest glasses I've got. All right. So what was your bad?
My bad was that Sadiq died.
Yeah.
I just...
It was just your bad, though. It wasn't your bad ugly?
No, it was just bad. I'm really disappointed. Like, on the one hand, I'm really disappointed that the character died. On the other hand, you know, it's really cool that they can still keep us guessing and that they are not afraid to kill off a character that everyone likes. But I didn't want to see him go. I would have rather, like I said, had a different character die if somebody had to die. I didn't want it to be Sadiq. I mean, I also didn't want it to be Enid or Tara or, you know, it's really, really hard when a character that you really like that's been with us for some time goes. And I just remember this shy kid who had lost his parents goofing around with Carl. You know, that's how it started out.
So, did it really bother you that he talked about Enid as being the thing that bothered him about the killings?
You know,
I thought it was kind of inappropriate. I thought it was a little weird considering he wasn't in a relationship with Enid and Alden was.
But he was training her to be a doctor.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I originally was like, why Enid? And then I was like, oh yeah, she's the one who saved Aaron because she cut off his arm and did surgery because that's what Sadiq taught her.
I'm really glad that you caught that because I completely did not put that together, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
that makes perfect sense for why they would be so close.
Yeah, I think he saw her as kind of a little sister, and he was, you know, her mentor for becoming a doctor. Yeah. So what was your bad?
Well, my bad, and this is not really an original thought, so I'm just throwing this out there. God, Koba is mad about something. The plot holes with Dante. So we never got a good explanation about why he appeared.
Mm-hmm.
So it just strikes me as it would be weird that he just appeared out of nowhere and our group was like, sure, come on in.
So I agree. However, it looks like next episode all will be revealed.
I hope so. And the other thing is, and this has been pointed out by several fans and in several
oh, I know
reviews.
where you're going.
You know where I'm going.
Yep.
Why doesn't Lydia recognize him?
Yes, exactly. But again, there is a little bit of a teaser in one of the trailers for the next episode that makes me think that that will also be explained. So, we were all left wondering, like, she recognized some rando horde herder and not Dante. That's just weird.
No, I agree.
Because Dante kind of sticks out.
He does. He's kind of burly. He's got a pretty obvious accent, although it seems like several of the Whisperers have Southern accents. And he's got kind of a weird sense of humor, although you probably wouldn't see that if he was totally towing the line with the whole Whisperers thing.
Right. It'll be interesting to see how much of the Dante we know is an act, or how much of it is really a lot of his mannerisms that, like the mouth clicking, that he couldn't help but, you know, reveal.
You know, and I can't remember if it was Tassie or Kane, but one of them completely missed that was the thing that clicked for Sadiq.
Mm.
I mean, that was it. It was that weird clicking of his tongue.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, totally made me think of a coworker from Seward. I used to work with this dude who would sit and click his pen, you know, the end of the pen, and suck on his teeth. Drove me nuts.
I have a meeting every Monday with a coworker who like does that thing where they shake their leg nervously constantly.
Oh.
And it like just shakes the entire conference room table, but nobody tells him to stop.
And are you totally like, dude, you need some meds for your OCD?
No, like he's got a very, very stressful job. So I'm just like,
Honey,
okay.
you have a very, very stressful job.
Well, he's like 5 positions above me. So like his job is 5 times more stressful. I've only got 9 sections yelling at me. He's got like 8 divisions, which all have sections in them yelling at him. So, yeah, he gets a pass. But I do have another coworker who's a pen clicker, and when he does that in teleconferences, and he's sitting next to me, I will like put my hand over his pen, just like stop.
Okay, so I gotta tell you the other thing that was really funny about this coworker. His name was Dopney. He was, I don't know, he was probably 20, 30 years older than me. I mean, he was really toward the end of his career when I was working with him, and he hated using computer charting. So he would sit and like peck out letter by letter with one finger and cuss all the time. It was so funny. You'd hear chick-click, 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 cuss, chick-click, 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 expletive. It was hilarious.
Oh, that's funny.
I have some fond memories of that ER. It was really fun.
Do you think you have any like nervous habits or verbal tics that would give you away?
Oh, I'm sure I do. I mean, I don't think I'm self-aware enough to really say what those are. I do tend to talk a lot and rapidly when I'm like really on. Mm-hmm. A little bit of bipolar almost, but...
Well, not that this would come out if I was holding someone in a barn making them watch the murder of their friends, but I have restless leg syndrome, and yes, it's a thing. It's a real thing.
Oh, it's absolutely a real thing. You should have your ferritin level checked if you haven't.
It's usually I can usually have some of that calm stuff that's basically
you should
magnesium.
Totally have your ferritin level checked.
Okay.
Because mine's in the toilet, so...
But everybody that has slept in a bed with me, whether it's like a boyfriend or like Amy and I shared a bed at the hotel, everyone notices that I constantly like rub my feet together, like all the time. So I think that would be the thing that would, if I was ever in hiding and could change my appearance, that would give me away.
You need to have your ferritin level checked.
See? I don't need to call you for medical advice. I just have a
I'll
podcast
just give
with
it.
you.
Oh my God. Okay, totally off subject again because we still have like our uglies to get to. But I'm sitting in physical therapy today, and this woman comes in and she's like talking at the top of her voice with her phone on speaker, which drives me nuts because I don't want to hear your conversation.
Ugh.
And her daughter is at home having an allergic reaction. And I'm like, you need to hang up and dial 911. I'm a nurse practitioner. I don't usually give out medical advice to strangers. You need to hang up and dial 911.
Okay, so not like breaking out in hives.
So she was having hives, and she was like, my husband's there, and he might have to shoot her with her EpiPen. And I'm like, if it's that bad, you need to hang up and call 911. Yeah. No, people are ridiculous.
I know that EpiPens are like super expensive because I don't get mine filled as regularly as I should. But yeah, no, if it's to the point where you're calling your mom, yeah, you probably should stick yourself with a pin.
And call 911. Yeah.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. And that is our medical hour.
Well, we have to do this now because Alexandria has no doctors.
Right.
Enid's dead. Sadiq's dead. Dante's a bad guy. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, don't be a medical professional in Alexandria. You'll die or be evil.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Lay your ugly on me.
Okay. My ugly, and maybe it's just because she's a teenage girl and they drive me nuts, because I was one once, so I can say that. a long, long time ago. Did I mention I'll be 40 next month? But Lydia's freak out on the bridge, and she's like, "You used me," and I'm like, "Okay, not really."
You and
Like,
I were totally not on the same train as far as Lydia goes this week.
We're not, but I don't know. Like, it's not like she was like used. It's that, hey, I want to show everyone that you're alive. That I feel like she overreacted for the amount she was quote unquote used. You know, and I mean, she'd even said earlier that she hated the Whisperers, but she knows them. And now she's going to go off and join them because Carol upset her. Like, I need teenage girls. But now this is the good part of the bad ugly. Like I said, Gamma finding out that Lydia's alive is going to start a wildfire that Alpha's not going to be able to control. And now Lydia's going to show up in the middle, and they're doing their little initiation thing with Negan, and everyone thinks Lydia's dead, and Lydia pops up. Oh, hell is going to break loose. And it's going to be awesome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Will
we see it next week?
I think we'll see the beginnings of it next week. Because, I mean, like, who shot JR? We've always got to end on a cliffhanger.
And when do we come back? Do you know? I haven't looked for the date yet.
It just says 2020, so after the new year.
Usually it's February-ish.
Yeah, usually because it's like a Valentine's Day joke that it comes back on, right around Valentine's Day. The other thing... Because
nothing says I love you like zombies.
Right? It's for the Cold and Dead Inside Club.
Hi, Steve.
So the other thing that I think that might happen is we might get a little bit, and we saw kind of a glimpse of it tonight, or last night, little bit of this comic book story arc in why Negan hates the Whisperers, if you know what I'm saying. So Alpha's not a very good mom, and Lydia's very, very traumatized, and I kind of think that maybe Alpha will do something or let somebody do something, and that's totally against Negan's code, and that will be how Alpha ends.
I think that they're going to be true to the comic book.
You think so?
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who kills Beta?
Well, in the comic book, I'm not going to say.
I was going to say, Dante wasn't evil in the comic book, so we're totally off book. And Siddiq survived the Whisperer War, so...
Yeah, I want to say Siddiq was alive to the end, but I would have to go back and read. It's been a while since I've read.
See, just another reason why I'm sad he's dead. Anyway, what was your ugly?
So, speaking of Siddiq, my ugly was a good ugly, and it was Avi Nash's acting in this episode. So, I feel like he's done a really good job with the PTSD thing all season, but he really made me feel like Siddiq was suffering, and really made me feel for his suffering with his acting.
Right.
I think the scenes that really got me were the barn scenes. I felt like he just did a fantastic job with those scenes.
I also like how it was really driven home that he had so much on his mind. I mean, he had so much on his mind that Dante was able to convince him that he had put Hemlock in the bag instead of Yarrow. I mean... He's got a new baby. He's trying to deal with an outbreak. He, has this PTSD, and he just had and we can all relate to that. I mean, whether it was like finals week in college or, something with your family at home. Like it's just everything just piles on at once. It seems like sometimes. And yeah, I like how they demonstrated kind of his crack.
Which, by the way, I want to say that I wrote in my notes as I'm watching Sadiq, quote, Dante, quote, accidentally killed the Whisperer. Even then, I was like, I don't think it was an accident. But
no.
I still didn't see what happened coming.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, because we'll talk about it a little later, but some of the listeners and viewers picked out that Dante was probably a whisperer. He was probably a spy or a plant.
Yes, I just want to
way
give
early on
credit to our listener, Mary Kay Lewis. She called it.
Yeah, like weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think when we all saw Dante be like, well, you packed the bag, we were all like, I don't think so. I think that's a lot of us clicked into it then. Too bad Sadiq didn't click then.
Sorry, I was just pulling up the link for that song that was used in The Walking Dead this week.
So are we into Rotting Potpourri?
We're in Rotting Potpourri, and the song that was used in Walking Dead this week is by a singer named Delta Ray, and it was called, appropriately, Come Back Alive.
Oh. Are you trying to play it?
I'm going to try to link it.
Okay. So, speaking of the hemlock, I have some interesting facts about hemlock.
So I'm glad that you did that deep dive, because I don't know that much about a death from hemlock, and I wasn't sure that it was really consistently... That the death that the Whisperer had was really consistent with the hemlock death. Because I know that Socrates killed himself that way,
yes.
And I kind of got the feeling it was pretty peaceful.
Well, so it usually takes 48 to 72 hours to die of hemlock poisoning. And yes, Socrates did kill himself.
I was trying to open that up again.
Socrates did kill himself by drinking a tea made of hemlock, which does resemble yarrow. So
okay, so they got that right.
Yeah,
cool.
Like if you Google the pictures, they're very similar looking, and if it's dried, I can definitely see that, you could mix the two up easily. So the hemlock bush. The hemlock tree was actually named after the hemlock bush because they have a similar smell when you pulverize the hemlock flowers and the hemlock bark, but they are not related in species. It takes 48 to 72 hours for the full toxic effects to manifest. And if you find yourself poisoned by hemlock, only mechanical ventilation will save you.
Oh, well... Ain't happening in the ZA.
Right? So it does, it disrupts the nervous system. It actually has a chemical similarity to nicotine.
Interesting.
Let's see. This poison disrupts the central nervous system. A small dose can cause respiratory collapse. Death can result from a blockage of the neuromuscular junction caused by conine? CONIINE.
That I'm not familiar with that neurotransmitter.
In practice, it eventually stops your ability to breathe, causing you to suffocate. This won't happen right off, as drinking a tea only makes you feel drunk at first. So it is said that when Plato wrote of Socrates' death, he glossed over the yucky parts.
Okay.
He maintained that Socrates was alert and speaking until his final moments. And I think if you needed intubation at that point, you're not alert and speaking. So, yeah, I don't think that's quite historically accurate on Plato's part. But according to Christian mythology, the hemlock plant became poisonous after growing on a hillside of Jesus' crucifixion. When his blood touched the plant, it turned forever toxic. let's see. The reason why Socrates killed himself with the poison hemlock tea is because he was convicted of what was he?
It was some kind of crime against the state. I mean, basically, it was a political crime. That
it was kind of like being
like treason.
Yeah. But because of his status, he was allowed to choose the manner of his death, and he chose to drink hemlock. So, I don't know if, he knew. I would imagine he would have known the effects of drinking hemlock if he knew that it was a poison, but I don't think it's as peaceful as it was made out to be, but it's not quite as quick and violent as The Walking Dead made it out to be. But I would definitely say 0 stars, don't try it.
That's funny.
Oh.
So Daryl's scars.
Oh, I'm so glad you pointed that out. I wrote that down.
I don't think it was a throwaway, but I'm not sure why they're bringing them back to our attention.
So it was right before he and Carol were going to go and torture the captured Whisperer. But they had decided against it until, of course, the captured Whisperer spit the food back in their faces. And I question whether or not Daryl was really going to cut the guy up. I don't know if Daryl has that in him anymore, especially after being tortured himself. But Daryl would do anything to save the people he loves, you know? So, I don't know, maybe he could have cut off a thumb.
Okay, so the whole Daryl, Carol, torturer, bringing in the covered tray thing totally made me think of the Salazar that we used to know and love.
Oh, degloving someone's hand.
I really thought that Carol had torture instruments under that tray and that she was going to torture the Whisperer when she brought that stuff in.
Carol, always with the cookies and the jam and that creepy smile.
It looked really yummy. Not the creepy smile. The jam.
No, yeah. Yeah. I actually thought it was going to work. Like, the captured Whisperer, when he was like, all of them, I was like, my very, very first thought was, like, my kingdom for buttered toast. I was like, yeah, I always said that I would totally give up anything to the enemy for brownies. That's my weakness, is brownies. But after eating, dried deer meat and worms for the past 8 years, I probably would lay it all out for a piece of bread, like some carbs.
So a thing that you missed in Talking Dead because you weren't able to watch it is that the way that they mimicked that stuff being spit into Carol's face is that Michael Cudlitz actually sat and threw soggy food at Carol.
As the director, they let you do those sort of things.
Right? I thought that was super funny.
Oh, God, that is funny. So Gamma's comment about children hold you back, they make you weak. Okay, as two women who do not have children, I wholeheartedly disagree. I don't think children hold you back. I think as a parent that children propel you forward. You have to get out of bed because, you have to get your kids breakfast and get off to school and, do all of the things. And I don't think kids make you weak. I think they make you very strong. I think you can be strong and, not held back without children. But I do not agree with her in that children hold you back and they make you weak.
Interesting.
I think that was Alpha's little mantra in her head.
I thought it was interesting that she denied her sister initially. That she
And then
denied
later.
having her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I just keep going back to Dante and like, how does I mean, we've seen Alpha hold sway over people who are mentally weak, and I feel like Dante doesn't fit that, you know? Yeah. And why would you, like, what sway does she hold over him that he would willingly go back to digging in the dirt for worms and wandering around the forest with walkers when he's got honey and jam and a nice clean doctor's coat and a bed and everything in Alexandria? I kind of think that even if you bought into her cult in the beginning, that, you know, you change sides. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Lydia and Carol talked about how having the idea that a place like Hilltop can survive is dangerous, and how that could potentially sway some whisperers.
Yeah. But Dante's still all in.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think that he wanted to be friends with Siddiq. Like, if...
I'm glad you said that, because when he was talking with Siddiq before Siddiq keyed in on who he actually was, and he said something like, "You're my friend," I thought, this is coming from a genuine place.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think, like, in Dante's perfect world, like, the Whisperers win, and his friend Siddiq comes and wears a walker mask with him, you know? But he was willing to kill him. Like, I don't know. Did she find Dante in another asylum? Like she did Beta?
I hope they give us more, because, again, it's a plot hole I think they need to fix.
Yeah. I agree. Do you have anything else?
I've got tons of notes. I did want to say that I thought Cassidy McClincy was great tonight. And I think she's been kind of unsung because we all talk about how much we love Kaylee Fleming. But Cassidy McClincy did a really great job tonight. I thought she was really believable. And I liked the arc with Lydia. I liked her being like, I've been totally used by all of you.
So I see how she feels that way, because she sort of is the in-between. I mean, she's both accepted and the outcast in both groups. And, as, what is she supposed to be, 14, 15?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Like, imagine somebody who has gone through what she has gone through at that age, trying to figure out her place in the world. And she really has been used as a pawn. I totally agree with that. But maybe it's because I'm on the outside looking in, and I see that it's on Alexandria's side, on, we're the heroes in this scenario. It's for the greater good. And it's not like she's being asked to, like, cut her mom's throat or anything. She's just being asked to, like, reveal herself to the other Whisperers. So, teenage girls are drama queens.
I'm looking through, hang in there with me. So there was a good point that was made in something else that I read. How was Rosita strong enough to save Siddiq when she was basically on her deathbed with whatever this flu stuff is?
She kind of seemed like she was on the mend earlier, but I agree, she was still bedridden. I mean, and what was she doing outside near the stream, the river,
Yeah, I don't know. And I actually thought at first when we saw her under the water with him that she was a vision as well, that she was actually not real, that he was having another vision. Like that glimpse of Alpha in the window in the very initial, in the opener, was so good.
Oh, and see, I kept thinking that the open your eyes, it sounded like Beta. I was expecting something with Beta.
He did say open your eyes at one point, and so did Alpha.
Okay.
So we heard it several times.
But then at the end, they morphed it into Dante saying it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we heard and saw it several times, which was super interesting. Oh, I liked the moments with Cheryl. She was a really great small character. And I thought it was really funny when she was really failing and she looked at Sadiq and was like, you know how I know a man's lying? Your lips are moving.
Oh, and I kind of looked her up on IMDb because we didn't get the opportunity to have her be the cast member of the week, but
right.
She definitely has a long, storied career in Hollywood, so she's got a ton of credits to her name. Not a lot that I have watched, like James Parks, but yeah.
She was a fun character.
Yeah, she's got some interesting ones. Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
That's funny.
Yeah, so you can go check her out. Her real name is Rebecca Koon, Koon. But yeah, she was a fun little character, and when the whole Yarrow Root Hemlock thing went down, and I started suspecting Dante, for the first time, really, other than our eagle-eyed listeners, I had a hunch that he did something to her when he was burying her all alone. There was nobody else. Like, don't they have funerals?
That's so depressing.
It is. And, I mean, if you've watched the trailers for the next episode, we see what really happened to Cheryl. So, ugh. So, you and I talked before the episode, and we were laughing because it's like, oh, haha, I guess Dante's not going to have his relationship with Maggie. And then I said, I don't know. We cured Negan, so anything could happen. We rehabilitated Negan.
True, but yeah, I'm really hoping that. That Dante gets his comeuppance.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting where they took that character from where it was in the books.
I wonder if we're going to end up seeing another love interest for Maggie.
Wasn't she supposed to be with Alden?
No, Alden's not in the books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked Sadiq's miles to go before I sleep line. I thought that was also really telegraphing.
Yeah.
I really, like I said, felt like it was a highlight, a lot like, or a hero episode, a lot like Herschel's hero episode.
Yeah. And, if you go back and you watch it knowing what happens, you pick up on so much more. That's why, for me, it picked up on the rewatch. And so the first time I watched it, I didn't notice how he figured out the lever thingy and that it was turned down and then bent up. And if you go back and you rewatch the scene when he's filling the jug in the beginning, you can totally see, like, it's just one of those things where I feel like whoever uses that valve all the time, whoever goes and gets water all the time, should have noticed it, because it is very noticeable, because the bending makes it cover the bolt that it's bolted on with, and it makes it slightly shorter than all the other valves. And it's one of those things where you see it every day, and then all of a sudden something's out of place. But again, Siddiq was just so distracted with everything else in his life that he didn't catch it. But eventually, like I said, he housed that thing out.
I thought that was funny. That was kind of a new Steven, that thing out.
Right?
Yeah.
And he totally did, too, because he said everything that I said, I think, in the last episode, where it's like, they don't work together, they don't eat the same food, they don't live on the same side of town. Like, how are all these people getting sick? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, we all drink the same water. Which really, as a physician, if there's some sort of stomach flu going around, that would generally be like one of my first instincts is, food or liquid you're ingesting. But he had a lot on his mind.
Well, and I thought it was kind of cool that he was like, people don't eat together, they don't they don't live together, they don't work together. So yeah, he housed that thing out.
Yep. Little too late, because and he didn't tell anyone, did he?
No, he did not have a chance to tell anyone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that he had a chance, because when he discovered it, it was daylight. And then, like, when he was looking out the window, it was night. So he really should have clued somebody in to the whole, the water is poisoning us, and, like, gone around and slapped drinking glasses out of people's hands all day, right?
He died too fast.
They made it a point to show, like, all of these sick people drinking water. And I was just like, oh. And, like, the minute Rosita coughed, he hands her water. And it's like, oh, you're just like, you keep giving her the poison that's making her sick,
So, looking through my notes, I do have a bunch of other things, but one of the things that I wanted to bring up before we wrap up is Alpha beats Gamma with a switch. Just like
right.
Beta
Lydia
was beating her, and just like, yeah, it really creeped me out.
Yeah.
So dysfunctional, so yucky. It was really disturbing.
Yeah. And Gamma just taking it, like, and barely even flinching.
Although Gamma felt really betrayed at the end, and I really do believe that the footage that they're showing us for next episode, where she says to Aaron, I've got a bunch of information for you, I think that she's going to betray the Whisperers.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. One of the first episodes of Talking Dead, Angela King said that they were going to make this season feel like it was going to be a very Cold War era, and that people were going to be very paranoid and, off their senses, and it was just going to feel like that, where you doubt everyone and everything that you know. And they're really coming through on that one, because, Dante's a spy, and now I think Gamma's going to be the spy for Alexandria, and who knows what's going to happen with Lydia. But we have one episode left for the mid-season finale.
And then I think we're going to try to do some Preacher stuff.
I think so.
And we're going to try to do Overlord.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I really need to write that down.
Oh, I'll bug you about it again. All right. Well, We do have some listener feedback. So, Mary Kay Lewis, like I said, did send us a message early on about how she thought that Dante was the spy. That was way back on October 25th.
Yeah.
And then she
Way
said,
to go.
I didn't see that coming. Goodbye, Sadiq. And I told her, good on you for calling it. Mm-hmm. She definitely called Dante.
So, and I have to say that when we had Thomas O'Mara on the episode, he had mentioned that Sadiq seems to be really hyper obsessed with Dante's mouth.
Yes.
And come to find out, it's because, one, the clicking, and two, that's one of the only parts of the whispers you can see.
Right.
So, there you go.
What else do we have? I know we had some feedback on last week's episode. Let me get to that. And it looks like Rob shared a thing reminding people to support Southgate Media Group with their Amazon purchases. We all know it's coming up.
Christmas, shopping season.
Okay, so Pedro said, a little thing you might have missed in last episode is the whisperer that Beta killed when he left Negan to be killed by the walkers was the same whisperer who gave Negan some of his food from the pig/boar after Beta said Negan hadn't earned the right to eat.
And that's so interesting. I'm glad you caught that, Pedro, because I thought when that guy shared his food with Negan after Beta denied him, I was like, ooh, that's a risky move. And turned out it was a bad risk.
I don't have anything else.
I don't either.
Oh, I do have something else.
Uh-oh.
It's totally Walking Dead, unrelated. So I always talk geek with my physical therapist because it's like the thing that we have in common that we can talk while I'm laboring over this ridiculous hip rehab. It's ridiculous. He told me that Jeremy Renner, there are rumors that he's in the midst of a horrible divorce, and there are rumors that he tried to hire a hitman to kill his wife.
What?
Right? And I don't know that I believe it, but it could really derail his Disney Plus series about Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it turns out to be unfounded because I really like Jeremy Renner.
You know, on the one hand, you never know what people are capable of, but on the other hand, it's like, would he really throw it all away to off his wife so he didn't have to split his fortune with her? Like, I don't think so, because you divorce her, you move on, and you earn more from Marvel movies. Like, man. Actors are people too.
Yep. Again, hoping it's not right, but that was my other piece of geek that I had to share.
That's crazy.
Yep. Now I really don't have anything else. I have taken us down so many rabbit holes, as I usually do, but I kind of feel like this is a chance to just kind of talk about our rabbit holes too, so...
Sometimes.
You know.
Yeah. And we were able to not have a short episode like we thought we would.
Right. We totally thought we were going to have a short episode, and how far in are we?
An hour and a half.
Oh my god. We talk incessantly.
We do.
Thank you to the people who listen to us talk incessantly.
Yeah, if you're still with us. Spooky Chef.
Hi, Bri.
See, I worked in juxtaposition and Spooky Chef this episode.
I got the yarn that I needed tonight for his Pikachu and his other Pokemon character that I'm doing amigurumi of, so... Yeah.
Those are so cool.
Oh my god, I'm doing a unicorn amigurumi too, and it's really amazing.
Are you doing a zombie one?
I might.
You should do a zombie one.
I downloaded a pattern for a super funny zombie teddy bear. I can't talk this late in the game. A zombie teddy bear a couple of months ago, and I may do that. But it's going to be an after Christmas project if I do it.
Did I send you that thing about the daddy-daughter photo shoot, right?
No.
Okay, I'm going to have
You sent me some stuff that you told me to scroll through, and I hadn't scrolled through it yet.
There's a really cute photo shoot out there where this father does a photo shoot with his like probably 1.5-year-old daughter, and he's a corpse and she's a zombie.
That's
And like
awesome.
they even have props, and so she's got like this hand, like this person's hand in her mouth, she's chewing on the bone. And then they also did another one where she's just this like, in a cute little princess dress or whatever, and she's in the forest, and like he's Michael Myers standing in the background. I am just like, this is the sick things that I would do if I had kids. Like, these are the photo shoots that I'd have with my kids.
That kid's gonna need years of therapy to overcome that.
Or they're going to be like a famous horror director. It's just so clever. I'll have to see if I can find it again and post it to the Biters page.
Very cool.
All right. We should probably end this. We have one more episode left, and then we won't be back with Biters till 2020.
We'll keep yakking at Biters, but we won't be back with Walking Dead until 2020.
Yeah. You'll still hear from us.
Any chance to torture the Biters out there?
Because we can't shut up.
Right. So let's do that tonight.
All right, everybody. Just remember,
take it one dead day at a time.
Have a good week.
Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.